What's going on there, everyone? Well, this is a story that I particularly like because it's something I've been thinking for a long time. Like, why haven't we done this already? DHS moves to end limits on detention of migrant families, close loophole. Wonderful. That sounds like it makes entirely too much sense. The Trump administration announced Wednesday it could move to scrap a major court agreement in order to allow migrant families to be detained longer as their cases are being considered, instead of having to release them after 20 days. Yeah, that makes sense. Why would you release someone who's essentially a criminal? Coming here illegally is illegal. It's a crime. I don't even know why this is an argument still. The Trump administration announced Wednesday it would move to scrap a major court agreement in order to allow for migrant families to be detained longer as their cases are being considered instead of having them released after 20 days. Acting Homeland Security Secretary Kevin McAleenan, in a press conference, detailed the decision, claimed that a long-standing court order known as the Flores Agreement has incentivized illegal immigration and represents a loophole in the immigration system. Of course it did. The agreement prohibited children from being kept in detention for more than 20 days. As a result, officials were releasing entire families to keep them from being separated. Because the activists just go crazy. But they don't go crazy every single day when Americans are separated from their children for committing crimes. Yeah. It doesn't make any sense. Though last year the administration did separate families as part of a zero-tolerance program that eventually was stopped amid a bipartisan outcry. Which there should have been no outcry. Like I said, these people are criminals because they've come here illegally. They put their family and their children in crazy amounts of danger to get here. You know, why aren't they investigated for child endangerment and stuff like that? You know, walking through a desert is not safe. Being smuggled by cartels is not safe. Look at the amount of assaults, sexual assaults, and everything that happens to these people on their way here. That's criminal. But I digress. Today, the government has issued a crucial rule that will permit the Department of Homeland Security to appropriately hold families together and improve the integrity of our immigration system, McAleenan said. This rule allows the federal government to enforce immigration laws as passed by Congress that ensures that all children in the U.S. government custody are treated with dignity, respect, and special concern for their particular vulnerability. Which is all good, you know. I do believe that if children are in custody, they, just like with anybody in custody, should be treated with dignity, respect, and all that. Even our criminals should be treated with dignity and respect. They are human beings. They should be treated as such. But unfortunately, see, here in America, unfortunately, American criminals that are in detentions aren't treated well. They're not treated well at all. You got these private prisons, these for-profit prisons that don't care about the people that are imprisoned at all. They care about their profits. And that's something that I believe, personally, this is just my opinion, should be changed. I don't think there should be for-profit prisons at all. That's not a good business, nor a good business model. But like I said, that's my personal opinion as someone who's been there, done that. The Flores ruling came about as a result of a 1980s case in which a girl named Jenny Flores, then 15, was detained with adults by the U.S. authorities after she fled El Salvador. Beginning in 1997, the Flores settlement called for migrant children to be sent to care programs after 20 days and be given access to medical treatment and visits with relatives. McAleenan said the new rule takes the place of Flores while keeping many of its terms. Okay. I can't really argue with that. Of course they should get medical treatment and stuff like that. You know, they are in our custody. We should try to help them as much as we possibly can. Just makes sense, you know. I mean, we are very humanitarian when it comes to these immigrants. And we should be. Well, I can't say these immigrants because they're illegal immigrants, let me put it that way. But we should still be kind and caring. You know, it's just, that'd be the Christian thing to do, at least. The new rule is slated to go into effect in 60 days, though the change is sure to face a new court challenge. Of course, because nothing that this administration does can just be passed like in past administrations. No, everything has to be challenged because Trump derangement syndrome. That's all that is. If it was any other person, any other president, the stuff would just be passed right on through. We know this. We've seen it. We've seen it. When Obama was president, whenever he had anything to do with the illegal immigrants and everything, they passed it with glee. You know, they didn't care because, the Republicans didn't care because, we're tough on border security, which is a good thing. It's a smart thing to do. And the Democrats, they didn't care because their man was in power. This is all about power. That's what it all comes down to. In July, at a House Oversight Committee hearing on Capitol Hill, one of our favorites, Rashida Tlaib, accused McAleenan and other administration officials of seeking to scrap the Flores settlement with the alleged goal to keep kids longer in custody. Well, there's not that big of a deal. Our custody, you know, these kids being in our government custody, they probably have it better off than they've ever had it in where they're coming from. You know, running water, a shelter from the elements. That's a lot. I mean, those two things right there. Medical care, that's more than they've probably had in their life where they came from. Stop complaining. Stop complaining. Stop forgetting that they're illegally here. They've broken the law to be where they're at. Stop forgetting that, people. That's a major thing. Yes, we should treat them well while they're here. Cool beans. That's fine. I think everybody agrees with that. For the most part. I'm sure there's some people out there who just say screw them. And, you know, let's walk that back a little bit. Let's be a little bit more, friendly about it. We don't have to be quite so mean. They are people. In July, I think I already read that part. Yep, excuse me. McAleenan pushed back against the characterizations. He explained that he wanted to keep families together for the time necessary it takes for the immigration proceedings to go through, and for the justice system to make a ruling on the case. Yeah. We want to keep families together through an immigration proceeding that's fair and expeditious in an appropriate setting, he said. And that can be done in 20 days with due process. Democrats have slammed the detentions as inhumane. Shut up, Democrats. Stop talking with your feelings. We got to speak on facts when it comes to this stuff. Okay? No one cares about your feelings. Not at all. When the new rule was announced, the ACLU, that beautiful hate group, called it another cruel attack on children by allowing them to be held for longer than previously allowed. Well, why don't you take the children in? Why don't any of these activists take these people in? They won't do it. The government should not be jailing kids and certainly shouldn't be seeking to put more kids in jail for longer, they said. They're not really in jail. They're in a detention facility. There's a big difference between a detention facility and a jail. Really big differences there. You should look them up. Not you, the people, because y'all are intelligent enough to know the differences. But these activist groups, their heads are so full of nonsense that they seriously don't see reality for what it is. Democratic presidential candidate Julian Castro vowed to end all detention if he wins the presidency. Yeah, because they're for open borders, which will fundamentally destroy the United States. Separating migrant children from their parents is appalling, but indefinitely detaining families isn't a better alternative, he tweeted after Mikulina's announcement. What's your alternative? Just let them run freely through the country, never to show up at court? Yeah, sounds like your idea sucks balls. Sorry for the language, people. Republicans such as Senator Lindsey Graham have claimed that the current system has resulted in children being used repeatedly by adults posing as family members to get into the U.S., and we have seen factual information that proves that to be the case in a lot of these situations. Not all, of course, not all, but in a lot of situations. Considering the numbers that we've seen throughout the year, which it has dropped considerably, which thank God for that. But yeah, it's a problem. This is a sick system. It's rotten to its core, Graham told Fox Business Network Maria, I suck at saying her name, Bartiromo, in July, stating that 30% of those who cross into the U.S. with children are fake families, and that loopholes are used to let the same children come back over and over, bringing different adults with them. Yeah, that just shows the ineffectiveness of our system. Like, they don't realize, I mean, you're not writing these people's names down or putting them on some type of list. You know, the people we send back, for if their name pops up again, we'll automatically know, hey, something's not right here, red flag. It seems pretty ignorant. Mikulina said approximately 6,000 migrants fraudulently presented themselves as families in the past fiscal year. Exactly, 6,000 families. Family units. 6,000. That's a whole lot of people. Considering that's I mean, come on. That's a lot. No child should be a pawn in a scheme to manipulate our immigration system, he said. Agreed. In addition to putting an end to the 20-day limit, the plans announced Wednesday would also set standards for detention facilities, which have been criticized by members of both parties for not having sufficient resources to keep people in proper living conditions, thanks to the Democrats, who refuse to give up any money. Sure, when it comes to money, if they get it for anything they want, oh yes, they love it. They'll take billions. They'll eat it up. But when it comes to something that actually, using money for something that actually makes sense, they were against it the whole time. Even when the moderates came around and said, you know what, we do gotta fund this. It's our responsibility. You had people like the progressive wing of the Democrats, like the AOCs and whatnot, who voted against it. After she herself was ranting and raving, acting like she was crying and all this stuff because of the border facilities. And then she voted against giving them more money. So get out of here with that. Get out of here with that nonsense. It's insane. It's insane. The new rule establishes a high national standard for the care of children and families in custody, Mikulina said, noting that maintaining proper standards of care is a core element of the new rule, which is awesome. Like I said, we all agree that these people should be treated well while they're in custody. Just like all people, even our own that are in jail, should be treated well while they're in there. You know, how do you expect these people to get out with a sense of any dignity or anything like that when you're treated literally like a caged animal while you're in jail? You know? People that are in custody should be treated humanely and with respect and dignity. I agree with that fully. And I also agree with indefinite holdings of these illegal immigrants until their court hearing. Why not? Why risk having them released never to be seen again? And then we just fuel the illegal immigrants that are here that'll somehow end up being able to get on our welfare systems and this, that, and the other through these very progressive liberal states. No, it just doesn't seem to make a whole lot of sense. Doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Hold them indefinitely. Hold them until their court date. If from their court date on they're allowed entry and legal status, the sky's the limit. But there's going to be a lot of them that aren't going to be allowed. There's going to be a lot that need to be deported back through either criminal history or what have you. The simple fact is, this loophole needs to be closed. It's been needing to be closed. The fact that it's been on the books for so long has really contributed to the immigration problem. The mass migrant asylum seekers. I'd love to hear your opinions on this because, this is a touchy subject. This subject itself is one of the biggest when it comes to what people want to see from the 2020 electorate and all that. So I'd love to hear your comments, whether you're for or against it, whether you think we should just let them in or no, we shouldn't let them in. Love to hear it. And as always, like, share, subscribe. I will catch you on the flip side.